Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 3 of the anime series Snow White with the Red Hair. And this was another fantastic episode, putting at the forefront the courage, the determination, and just, the strength internally of Shirayuki in her wanting to find a place in this world, and find a place in this new country, and, follow as stringently as possible, as determined as possible, that path she's now laid before herself, wanting to keep herself near to Zen and, experience and share life with him. And I love that he gives her the room to do this. He respects and admires her determination and the skills that she brings to the table, and her determination to get the work done. I mean, we see her at the opening of the episode, she's sleeping at her desk because basically taking little sort of spot naps in her work, in her studies and everything. And that is her determination coming to the fore, as I say. Of course, not all of this is going to be smooth sailing, as we were hinted at with the preview from the previous episode for this one. In the hierarchy, if you will, of the kingdom itself, you have this character, Lord Haruka, who, he very much has the best interests in mind for Zen, but in a very sort of wrong way, in the way he's going to, try to keep, a girl like Shirayuki away from him. The idea that he almost thinks it's disgusting that she has such vibrant red hair, the antithesis of what everyone else seems to think, that it's attractive, that it's alluring and everything. But the reason for his disgust and his disfavor of her is because he feels like this could be a typical girl who's going to come in here and try to use the prince and try to have that posh social status that she's probably lacking, is Haruka's assumption. And it's very intriguing because, of course, he then enlists this sort of archer, sneaky dude, Obi, who I thought was the guy that they encountered in the previous episode that they had arrested. I thought that was going to be the same character. I guess not. But in any event, he's like shooting an arrow at her at one point, trying to test her resolve and chase her out of the kingdom, because this Haruka cat, he's put down this sort of decree under the guise of it being Zen's own decree that she and no one else who does not possess like the ID tag or whatever, or is not supposed to be within the kingdom, can be any longer. This will take away her ability to move in and out of the kingdom in spite of not having ID tags and everything like that, just because she is the personal friend of and visitor for Zen and everything. It wouldn't be good enough anymore with this decree. And luckily she managed to get back in the kingdom walls one last time, because she left her encyclopedia behind that she was referencing and everything when she went to visit Zen earlier, who we find himself, he's much himself tired of this sort of enclosed lifestyle with just work and work and work. And he sneaks out from time to time, which is pretty much how we first met him. He was sort of out and about, just frolicking or going on an adventure, whatever it is. Of course, he did have his assistants and bodyguards, Mitsuhide and Kiki, with him, but that's what he wants. He wants to be able to break free and take note. I really thought it was a respectable thing on his part, because he's talking about not wanting to lose sight of, in a sense, his subjects, but the town around the kingdom, not wanting to be just forever closed off from that, because he wouldn't know what exactly is going on, what is unfolding outside the kingdom. If he were to become king at some point, he'd want to be able to have his people, at the forefront of his mind, know exactly what makes them tick, what makes them happy, what exactly is going on, and just the vibrancy of life outside of that almost forcible formality, if you will, that he has to endure, and as punishment for which he, has to work at his desk, at his studies and everything. And he decides, because of his inspiration and aspirations that Shirayuki have provided him, he decides to really put his nose to the grindstone. And it's only by her visiting, at the request of Mitsuhide and Kiki, respectively, for his well-being, to snap him out of it, perk him up, let him let his hair down again and rest and, relax and recoup and everything like that. And it's because of that visit that she forgot her book and had to come back. And this all unfolds, and there is just a tantamount confrontation in one of the corridors when, Haruka and Shiroyuki basically face off. And I love that Zen is kind of watching. He's keeping watch of her. This is at the point when he knows that an arrow has been shot, at her by the Obi character, although he only can suspect at that point who was responsible. But, during this confrontation, Zen is sort of eavesdropping, and you have Mitsuhide and Kiki watching Obi and everything, just to make sure nothing goes awry. But it's all down to the determination and courage and fearlessness that Shiroyuki possesses in wanting to follow this path. Nothing will take her from this path now that she has set her sights on it. Not even Haruka pulling his sword on her, threatening her, calling into question her social status, her, worth, and all these kinds of things. And she just walks right into that sword tip. If you're going to do it, do it. I'm not going anywhere. We'll go get Zen. We'll iron this out. And he can only but replace the sword to the scabbard, because he is now seen, and during this entire scene, they're calling back on lines of dialogue from her remembering that, this decree was supposedly passed down and signed by Zen, to his remembering what Zen was saying about her being an honorable person who would find her own way. His biggest chief concern is that somebody might try to use Zen for their own benefits and try to find wealth without, basically following their own path and doing it of their own accord. And that's not what Shiroyuki is. Zen knows that. Mitsuhide and Kiki know that. Obi finds that out and is figuring that out to a point. But Haruka, he's the guy who really is calling it into question and finds out very explicitly. And just my favorite scene is her walking into that blade and just being like, if you're going to do it, do it. But I'm going. I'm going to see Zen. And when you finally have Zen come out of the shadows, so to speak, he turns it on his ear, as far as the idea of formality and the idea of the title and the status that Haruka so, places importance on. He's basically asking him, you really care about your title, don't you? You really care about your social status within the confines of the kingdom, your hierarchy, all of this stuff, your self-import. And he just says yes. And so you have Zen, again, turning it on his ear, because the whole aspect is, you're going to stop messing with this girl, or you're going to lose all of that. If you want to keep that, no more of this. Not one more attempt. And he sends Haruka packing. And right then and there, you see that here are these two well-matched souls, these minds, in Shiroyuki and Zen, in the fact that while he's a prince, he is an unorthodox one. He wants to commune with the rest of the people. He wants to experience life, and he appreciates somebody who is so forthright and so strong internally and so determined. It's somebody he can learn from in Shiroyuki, and vice versa as well, because, Shiroyuki, she basically tells him, I'm going to, go out for this application, this study to become potentially a court herbalist. That's what I want to pursue with my skills, her skills as an herbalist and an apothecary and all these things. And it's just to see them so supportive of each other, so friendly toward each other. Of course, there is a romantic underlying, thread to it as well. And you hope they're going to end up together because there is such a mutual concern and caring, but respect above all between them. And as I say, they are well complemented to each other because they can bring unique things to the table that can teach and, forge aspirations within each other, whole new worlds, being brought together. And it's just, I love it. I feel like at that moment, you could pretty much done like the Disney movie thing, have a heart, erupt around them and then fade out, the end, happily ever after. And it's episode 3. We still got a whole bunch more, and then it's going to be broken up into a second season next year and all this kind of stuff from what I'm told. So just giddy about this series. Love the atmosphere, love the characterizations, love having a true blood heroine in Shiroyuki who is somebody you can aspire toward and be inspired by. her enthusiasm and her vivaciousness and her determination. If only more of us had those things, and held to them as she does, while not also losing the vibrancy of life and of living and the freedom and all those things that she, so appreciates now that she is in this new country and everything. Just a really vibrant and, affirming character and situation. So far. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 3 of Snow White with the Red Hair, if you've seen it, and if you're enjoying it as much as I am, if you love Shirayuki as the heroine that she is, and like seeing her rise to the challenge of these adversarial ties and besting them, really, and doing it of her own accord, not being handheld by Zen and such like that. And Zen, for his wanting to be a more worldly prince, be able to see the world around him and appreciate all of that, rather than being just, forcibly self-confined to the palace, to this little world where the outside world couldn't really impact upon it. He really rose to the challenge himself and sending Haruka packing and saying, look, there is a world, bigger than just within these walls, and he wants to always experience that. And so, yeah, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well. Loved this episode, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.